Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Natasha Camile, and in today's video I'm going to be going through a beginning to end walkthrough of exactly how I put these little small size side cornrows in, better known as lemonade braids. In this video, I'll be covering which products to use, tips on parting your hair straight, and then 2 different feed-in methods for cornrowing on yourself. I'll also be including a 3-week update just to show how these braids actually held up and then the proper way to take them down to keep your curls healthy. This is definitely a style that would cost me like hundreds of dollars if I were to book it with someone else, but the supplies total less than $15, including the hair and all the tools. So the rest is really just up to patience. This style took me 2 days to complete, and I have a total of 23 braids, each starting with my natural hair and then including a bunch of small pieces of added hair to make the braids waist length. Okay, so really quick to get into supplies, I'm using pre-stretched braiding hair in the color 1B. I just got this at my closest beauty supply. And also the full length says 56 inches. And then you definitely need a little mirror that you can use. I'm gonna use like a handheld mirror and then the bathroom mirror so I can see what I'm doing behind me and stuff. And then of course some edge control. I'm using some Braid Shine Jelo. It's not as harsh and doesn't have as strong of a hold. And then of course a comb with a pick, just so you can make your parts as neat as possible and comb as you go. So here's the size of the first part that I'll be braiding, and as you can see I'm starting up at my ear and then finishing down on the other side by my neck to start off kind of like a guide for the rest of the braids. You really want to be patient when making these parts because if you make each one as neat as possible, the final result just comes out extra crispy. So I'm going to show up close 2 different methods to feed in the hairs, but for now I'm just getting my routine down and braiding style together since this is my first time cornrowing at this angle. Okay, so here's the first braid. I don't think it looks that bad. I'm trying to make my parts like angle this way though, because I want all the braids to just naturally like come over my shoulder on this side. I always use the metal end of the comb though in order to get that line as straight as possible, and I really just follow the braid underneath it, which means the more you do, the easier it gets. The main goal though is that for every braid to be parallel as you move your way up the head. Okay, so this is what I have done so far. I'm just about to start coming up like over my ear, and I've seen in other videos that just to make it look like less bulky and awkward, that you put like 4 just regular knotless braids instead of cornrows. So I'm gonna try and do that because I definitely don't want it to be bulky. I always like my braids to look kind of like small, so that's why I'm doing them skinny. I'm gonna do like 2 more braids this way, like the same direction as these, and then I'm gonna start braiding the other ones forward. So here is the next braid that I'm about to do here. Just like little tips to make sure it's the same size. One thing I like to do is twist it and then just like look at it and see if, you know, the size of the part looks proportional to all the other braids that are underneath it. Now to make the braid nice, secure, and close to the scalp, I apply some more of that braid gel at my roots where I'm going to be gripping the hair, and then as I move down, I add about 10 small sections of hair so that my braids are longer but they're not getting bulky. Over the years, one thing I've learned about braiding is the trick to a seamless and natural looking braid is to use smaller pieces and feed them in more often. This does take more time and effort, but in the end, it just always makes a huge difference in the quality and the craftsmanship of the braids. So this is the side of the section that I'm gonna do just like exclusively knotless braids, because I've just seen in other videos and I've seen like tips from other braiders that it just helps the cornrows look flatter and less bulky, especially since they're all like coming over on this side. So I'm probably gonna put like 3 or 4 little braids and make sure they sit flat so that everything looks a little bit sleeker in the end. And knotless braids are super simple. This is definitely like the easiest part of this whole hairstyle, but you just start braiding your natural hair down about 4 or 5 times, add a small piece of hair, braid down, add another piece, and so on until the braid is the thickness and the length that you want. I do knotless braids on my whole head all the time, so if you want to see the video on that or just a more detailed tutorial of my feed-in method, it's in the description. Okay, now that I have my 3 regular braids here, I can go ahead and finish the last braid that I have going this way. So again, my plan is to do 1 more braid along here that like kind of starts coming up off my ear, and then I'm gonna start braiding these ones forward. All right, so now to finally get into exactly how I feed in the hair. I start off by cornrowing my natural hair using the smallest sections of hair possible. Practice makes perfect with this. It's just like muscle memory, so the fact that this is my 8th time starting a braid on myself helps a lot too. Once I'm about an inch or 2 into the braid, I add a piece about this tiny and essentially lay it on top of the braid. Then I connect each side of the hair with 2 sections of my natural hair and then start braiding as if it's not there. And then for the actual cornrowing, you want to stick 1 finger under the middle piece and grab the piece on the other side. Honestly, it looked complicated on screen too for me when I was first learning how to cornrow, but it all just sort of fell into place once I actually had some hair in my hands. So my advice, practice a few times on your head or a friend's head until you get the motion down, because it's really simple and repetitive once your fingers just sort of pick up the pattern. And then after that, it's really all about making it tight and neat, which is honestly more about patience than skill. So now I'm going to start parting it in a way that makes like a zigzag going forward. In total, I add about 15 to 20 pieces of hair to each braid, but this varies because some braids are longer than others. So my advice, it's better to just keep adding hair until the braid is at the thickness that you want, because the number may vary, but what's important is the size of each braid is consistent. Alright, so again, I braided just my natural hair down for a couple inches, and this looks like a good time to add hair in. So what's easiest for me is to loop my hair onto my finger, smooth it down, and then continue braiding. Also, I thought nails were going to be an issue while braiding, but I think they honestly helped me out when it came to maneuvering my fingers through the hair and keeping a firm grip at my root. Surprisingly enough, it's actually a lot easier to do the braids that were on the back of my head than the ones on the front. And I think because I'm just not used to cornrowing this way, I usually always cornrow back. So that's one thing I didn't expect about this hairstyle. The part I can't see is actually easier. Okay, so since these are my last 2 braids, I wanted to just show you guys up close exactly how I feed in the hair, how I grip it, and how I just finish off this style to make it look really neat. This is especially for those of you who may be new to cornrows or French braids and just want to know exactly how to grip the hair and how to like feed hair and things like that. Okay, so first things first, before I even start braiding or parting the hair or anything, I like to take my hair and just section it off into a bunch of really teeny pieces. And I just put these pieces aside so that I can easily grab them as I start braiding. This just makes the whole process faster and easier, and I feel like it leaves less room for error. So I'm gonna do like that small. And you can feed bigger pieces into the braid like as you move down, but just especially at the top where you start it, you just want to make those pieces as small as possible. Here's my little braiding rack, and here's how I hold all my little pieces so I can just easily grab them as I go. My Aunt Janet got this for me for my birthday. Thank you, Aunt Janet. Again, I'll list the links to all the items that I'm using in the description. But yes, a braiding rack helps a lot. I just recently started using it, and I've been braiding hair for years, and I've just been sleek. The hair doesn't tangle up as fast, you can grab the pieces easier, and you just move really, really quickly through the process. Okay, and that braid isn't perfect, but honestly none of them are. What's important is how it looks in the big picture, and honestly everything just comes together as long as you part, for the most part, evenly and straight. And then when your hair is all braided, the final touches include trimming any hairs that are sticking out on the ends, dipping the bottoms of the braids, and then adding mousse to set your real hair and make it last a little bit longer. This is the best part. My day-to-day / morning routine is pretty simple. I just remember to always apply hair growth oil so that my natural hair is staying healthy in this protective style. Cornrows can cause a lot of tension and stress on the hair, so applying an oil consistently prevents your hair from breaking off, especially if you like to braid tight like me, because tight braids just look neater. Okay, so I wanted to include an update just so you guys could see exactly how these braids lasted, because I know for me that has a big factor in if that style is even worth doing on myself in the first place. So this is like 21 days now since I last braided my hair. Yeah, these braids are definitely ready to be taken out. They are blurry and pixelated and no longer crispy. Also, just wanted to note, these are the only 2 products that I use like consistently while keeping my braids in. I use these Kaleidoscope Miracle Drops, and I think I got a lot of new growth because of it. And then I also loved using this mousse. It did a good job of calming down my flyaways, but I mean, there's no product that can save this at this point. It just needs to come out, so. Okay, so I'm gonna use the fresh aloe leaf on my hair before I start unraveling the braids, just to give it moisture and make it have a lot of slip, just like make it easier for me to untangle. I do aloe vera treatments all the time because they're so good for my hair, especially after it's been straight or in braids or just neglected for a long time. I like to do the quick and easy way and just slice the pieces in half and then rub it all over my scalp rather than blending it, but I do always make sure to use a fresh leaf rather than the packaged version of aloe with all those preservatives and, I don't know, just sketchy ingredients. Okay, so I put the aloe on and I'm really focusing it on my scalp, and then while that sits, my favorite part is cutting them all off. Is this my hair? No, my hair's not that long. Okay. I'm going to use this Jelly to Cream conditioner from the Carol's Daughter Wash Day Delight collection. My aunt uses these on my cousin's hair and she loves them, and she says they have like a really cool texture, so I wanted to try them. I couldn't decide on the scent. I think this one is rose water and then this one is just like plain aloe. So I just got both so I could try them. After I take each braid out, just to make it easier for myself later on to untangle everything, I'm going to use just a little bit of that detangling conditioner to moisturize it and just sort of set the hair before I start detangling it. Using like that much per braid. Being gentle is key at this step because the hair has accumulated a lot of product buildup day after day, week after week in these braids. So I like to finger detangle and just apply a lot of conditioner to loosen up any knots. And then this is all of the fake hair that I've taken out so that my curls can breathe and I can be all natural for a while before I try another protective style. I have links to all of the products and tools that I used in this video down in the description. But if there's anything that I didn't touch on in this video, any other questions you have, you can just leave them down in the comments. Thank you again for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe if you learned something or if you just want to see more videos. Bye.